So we discussed Sandmeier's reaction, Gattermann reaction, and I told you like I'll give you the summary of it, right?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Yusuf.
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, I have to actually leave for a dental appointment, so I won't be able to attend class.
Okay, Yusuf, noted.
Yes, ma'am.
Please
Thank you,
watch
ma'am.
the recording later, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So we'll just do the summary of what we discussed in the Sandmeier's, Gattermann, and the other two reactions. So here, first you can see that in the reaction is preparation. First step is diazotization, where you have benzene ring and you're getting N2 plus Cl minus. Okay, so this is basically done. That's what, yeah, I'm coming to that point only. So you have your primary amine, benzene with NH2, that is amine group, and when you treat it with HNO2, or you can even use NaNO2 and HCl at 0 to 4 degrees Celsius. That's where you get disonium compound. This reaction is known as diazotization. And in this, after disonium chloride formation, if you are using copper halide Cu2X2, basically copper halide, it is copper chloride or it could be copper bromide, and then the product what you get is X, where X is chlorine and bromine, and this is what the Sandmeier's reaction. The second process is like when the same disonium compound is treated with copper and HCl. Again, you will get the same product. It will be HX. If I write HCl, then it will be chlorine. So I can just write HX, could be chlorine or bromine. So X can be again chlorine or bromine. So this is the Gattermann reaction. So first is Sandmeier's reaction. Second one is Gattermann reaction. And yeah.
Is there any difference between the two other than the
reagent? Only the reagent is different.
That's it.
That's it.
So there's no like difference between the process byproducts. Okay.
It's only that two different scientists in different area, different lab, they found this kind of reaction. Yeah. Third one is like preparation of iodo compound. If you have to use an iodo compound, you will be treating it or heating it with potassium iodide, right? So that you will get iodine. Third one is to get a fluoro product. What do you have to do? What do you have to do to get a fluoro product? Heating with fluoroboric acid. That means HBF4, so that you're getting. So this is what you can summarize the entire reaction, where you're preparing different haloarenes, that is chlorine, bromine, iodine or fluorine substituted compound from disonium chloride. So if you could prepare a disonium chloride from a primary amine, from that disonium chloride you can get any desired product, maybe chlorobenzene, bromobenzene, fluorobenzene and iodobenzene, and what you can see is only the conditions is different. So this is first one is Sandmeier's reaction. Where you're using copper halide and HCl is also used, copper halide. But the second one in Gattermann reaction, you're using copper as metallic form in the powder form along with the hydrogen halides, usually chlorine and bromine. So first two methods, the named reactions are for the preparation of chloro or bromobenzene. But for iodine and fluorobenzene, you don't need any copper. That is a major difference between preparation of fluoro-iodo compounds from the first two methods. where you're using something related to copper. Here it is a copper halide and here the metallic copper. In the other two methods, the diazonium chloride is directly heated either with potassium iodide or hydroboric acid. I mean fluoroboric acid, sorry, yeah.
Ma'am, if I wanted bromine, bromobenzene at the end, then with NaNO2, do we have to take HBr?
No. First part is only like you can take HBr there also to ensure that there is only one product. Otherwise, the product Cl minus can interfere in the second step, right? Because from the same diazonium chloride only you are preparing the next one.
So we can take chlorine or bromine.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
But as I said earlier, this step is not much important. The second step you should be carefully choosing. NaNO2 and HCl, even though you take it in the first step, but second step, if you need a bromo product at then it should be Cu2Br2. There you need to be very specific. That is in the Sandmeyer's test or in Gattermann process. In that area where you need to be specific about the reagent, what you use. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Like this with drawing the arrows or showing everything like in a mind mapping, like in this format, the aromatic or the organic reactions will be easy to understand. Because so many things forward and backward you're going to discuss. There are only few reaction, maybe 13 in all the chapters. But all these reaction will learn in different way, in different parts in all these chapters. Repeatedly, the same thing is coming again and again. So you should be knowing these roots rather than writing it in words. This way, if you could show, then it's easy to understand so that you can know the difference and only the difference can be studied properly. So we have done the preparation method. That was the first part. Reactions mean first is preparation reaction. Second is we going to discuss about the physical properties. Physical properties, then the chemical properties. Physical properties mean basically that is repeating in every organic chapter. So I can give you what are the physical properties. Melting point, boiling point, solubility, density, refractive index. These are the terms which we'll be discussing in physical properties. But most importantly, the questions are basically from melting point, boiling point and solubility. That you have to compare different organic compounds with their physical properties. So first type of organic compound we are discussing is alkyl or aryl halides. So we'll discuss the physical properties of these set of compounds. You still writing? Done? Previous slide. Which one? This one? So here, any questions related to melting and boiling point of any of the organic compound, maybe alcohol, carboxylic acid, aldehydes, amine, any of the compound which you're going to learn this year, the property that is the melting and the boiling point should be explained on the basis of intermolecular force of attraction. What is the type of attraction possible between the molecules? So here you can see boiling point of haloalkanes is higher than that of hydrocarbon. The reason is being greater dipole-dipole interactions and van der Waals forces. So if you take methane, simple hydrocarbon, we discussed that carbon-hydrogen bonds are non-polar. So there is no polarity. So if you have two methane molecules coming together, there is no attractive force. They tend to move apart from each other because the only force acting between them is van der Waals force. So if there is no other force operating, then we used to say that there is van der Waals force because that is the weakest force of attraction possible between any two molecules. So in the case of hydrocarbon, the two different molecules is attracted by van der Waals force of attraction. But if you take methyl chloride, that is chloromethane, here carbon and halogen bonds are polar, that we discussed already, the polarity of the bond. Carbon will get a positive charge and chlorine will get a negative charge, because of which there is a kind of attraction between the dipole, two dipoles. Dipole mean a positive and negative charge at the two ends of a same molecule. That is a dipole. So two dipoles, so this negative can attract the positive of the next molecule. Due to this reason, there will be strong force of attraction compared to the van der Waals force operating in haloalkenes or aryl halides. Then you can say they have got a greater melting and boiling point than the hydrocarbon. So compared to hydrocarbon, these alkyl or aryl halides have got higher melting and boiling point. And the reason, because carbon halogen bond is polar, so there is dipole-dipole interactions possible. So all the explanation related to melting and boiling point should be based on the intermolecular force of attraction. What is the force of attraction operating between the molecules? So here in the case of alkyl halides or aryl halide, it is being a carbon halogen bond polar, there is dipole-dipole interaction. If there is nothing, that is in the case of hydrocarbon, it is only van der Waals force. So actually here it's a mix of both. There is dipole-dipole interaction and also van der Waals force. But in the case of hydrocarbon, it is just van der Waals force of attraction. So there will be more attraction, mean you have to supply a lot of energy to vaporize them or to melt them. So melting and boiling point increases. The stronger the force of attraction between the molecule, greater the melting and boiling point will be. Very simple concept, but most of the time there is one question related to any of the physical properties of one of the organic compound. Comparison. Maybe they will give you different compound, aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acid, alkyl halide, and ask you to arrange in the order of melting and boiling point. So you have to learn this physical properties in all the chapters so that you can compare.
So dipole-dipole attraction is much stronger than van der Waals.
Van der Waals means there is nothing. It's just in a momentary. Like we know that when the electrons are moving at a point of second, fraction of a second, when it induced polarity is created, that will induce on the next molecule. So that is a very momentarily, yeah, very weak among all the intermolecular force of attraction. But dipole is a permanent dipole. Carbon and halogen bond, positive charge is there on carbon and there is negative charge on the halogen permanently. So it's a permanent dipole interaction. So they are strong. So the next molecule will align like this automatically to because there is attraction between positive and negative. Right. So that's about the boiling point. Huh? Only van der Waals, because there is no other attraction, because bonds are non-polar. Then among the alkyl halide, again if you want to compare the boiling point of fluoride, bromide, chloride and iodide, then you can see the boiling point decreases in the order. Fluoro compounds have got, yeah, this is the example. Sorry. Any alkyl group. R in organic is alkyl group. Okay. It could be CH3, C2H5, any number of carbon, just a carbon chain. That is what alkyl group. Yeah, alkyl group. So here you can see that iodo compounds have got greater boiling point than fluoro compound. What will be the reason?
Because bigger, so it's like written in the van der Waals force in case side it. I didn't much bigger than fluoro, so they have higher point.
That means van der Waals force of attraction depends on the number of electron. There are two factors affecting van der Waals force. Greater the atom mean, bigger the atom mean, more number of electron. So van der Waals force will be greater. It should be same alkyl group. You can't compare the boiling point of CH3Cl and CH3CH2Br. That is an entirely different thing because that depends on the chain, carbon chain. That is a different thing. Here, for a same alkyl group, that is CH3Cl, CH3Br, CH3I, CH3F. In that way, if you keep the alkyl groups as the same, then by change in the fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine, you can see this is the order of boiling point. And the reason is already described here. So effect of halogen makes a difference in the boiling point. Iodine being bigger in size and containing more number of electron, they got more attraction due to van der Waals force. Second factor, okay, because all these will take time only in the first chapter. When you will go to the next chapter, and automatically you can apply in alcohols, aldehydes, everything is repeating there. Only thing is that you're dealing with a different compound. The pattern is same. Second, you can see the three different compound. The molecular formula of the compound is C4H9Br. All the compound has got same molecular formula. That means they are isomers. Right? You can see 4 carbon atom, 9 hydrogen atom and 1 bromine in all the 3 compound. But they are just isomers. They are chain isomers. There are different chains. But their boiling point also changes. Here it is 375. Here it is 364 and here 346. That means when branching is more, here it is just a linear chain and here it's like coming, bromine is coming on the second carbon atom. Here it's like there are more branches. So what you can conclude from this information is that when branching increases, boiling point decreases. This is applicable in any of organic compound. Generally, boiling point of isomeric haloalkanes decreases with increase in branching. So the one with more branches will have the lower boiling point. So isomeric haloalkanes.
But technically those are also branches, right?
Which one?
Like the chains also, they're technically branches, right?
Which one? Third one?
No, second and first.
First, technically same chain, but the bromine is on the second carbon atom, right?
So when we go to a next different chain, we add
Yeah.
another no.
See here, this is actually a primary, right? If you technically look at primary and this is a secondary, right? Because this is carbon attached to one alkyl group. Here 1 and 2 alkyl group. Here it's actually tertiary. That means if you see technically the number of alkyl group attached to the carbon with halogen. If you take carbon halogen bond as the basic, then if you see that the branch is increasing technically. So this is very, very important.
So why does it decrease?
Why it decreases, tell me.
Energy gets spread out.
Hmm?
It takes up lower surface area.
Last year also we discussed this branching in hydrocarbons.
Area.
Sorry, Jonathan, can you repeat?
With more branching, there's less amount of surface area.
Same reason. Same reason. That means when you can see, it's like if you see the circle, measure the area available for the molecule, right? This is like more branching mean it's surrounding a certain carbon. Everything is surrounding a certain carbon. So surface area is less or decreases. Surface area decreases mean van der Waals force of attraction decreases. Less interaction between the molecule. Here if you take another molecule of the same compound CH3, CH2, 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 Br, then they have interaction through all the joints because they are open. From any area they have an interaction, van der Waals force is possible. But for this compound, due to the branch, the interaction with another molecule will be less. That is what surface area and van der Waals force of attraction proportion.
Does induced dipole affect boiling?
Yeah, any kind of intermolecular force of attraction affects the boiling point and melting point. So there is strong interaction due to dipole or hydrogen bonding, then the melting and boiling. That's why alcohols are greater in boiling point compared to these compounds because of hydrogen bonding. Most of them are like you can see in liquid state rather than the gas or something. Because alkanes are most of them are in gaseous state. Methane and all is gas. So the reason is being their low attractive force between the molecule. So if you want to add an explanation for this one, you can write it over here. When surface area increases, van der Waals force of attraction also increases, and vice versa. So we discussed about the normal haloalkane, long chain haloalkane. Now let's discuss the boiling point of haloarenes. Van der Waals force of attraction also increases. Or you can write branching decreases the surface area. As a continuation, you can write branching decreases the surface area and hence the van der Waals force of attraction. I think last 2020 sample paper, this was one of the questions related to the branching. They gave literally they give two different sample question. I mean the molecule, and you have to find out what is the difference in there and compare the boiling point or melting point. Yeah. Now dihaloarenes, ortho, meta, and para, and you can compare the melting and boiling point. Even though you can see there is a difference in the value is not much like in the other cases. 453, 446, 448 boiling points, and melting point also you can see it's comparable. But for melting point you can see boiling point is comparable, but for melting point you can see 256, 249, and the para is having 323. What do you think will be the reason? So here basically for haloarenes, you can write the reason. Para isomers will have always a greater value. In the case of melting point, the para isomer has a higher melting point than of ortho isomer. And that is being the groups are parallel to each other. Just write as 1 point, that much enough. No need to go into the detail. Melting point of dihaloarenes para-isomer has higher melting point than that of ortho-isomer. Boiling point is almost comparable, but melting point is, there is a lot of difference. That is why when we discuss the electrophilic substitution preparation method, when we got ortho and para product, there was one sentence given below. Ortho and para products have got high difference in their melting point, due to which you can easily separate them. One is 256, other one is 323. Due to this large difference in their melting point, it's easy to separate them. And this explanation is related to steric hindrance and all. So anyway, we don't need it in detail. So many factors are there in interelectronic repulsions, steric hindrance, stability of the molecule. So we are not going to detail, just write it down one sentence. Para isomers have got greater melting point than that of ortho. Okay. Para isomer has got greater melting point than that of ortho isomer.
Ortho isomer.
Density generally not much important. We don't see much question. Mostly it is melting point, boiling point and solubility. But density you can easily compare, because greater the size of the halogen, more number of electrons, so it will be more denser. More, so if you have CH3Cl and you have CH2Cl2, two different compounds. So dihalo compounds will be more denser than monohalo compound. Like that, this is not much important. So you can just leave it like that. It's just general thing only. Okay, let's discuss about the solubility. Haloalkenes are slightly soluble in water. They are not highly soluble. Density?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No need to write. Just a general thing, because due to the presence of halogen, these compounds will be more denser than water, because it's obvious, because halogens contain more electrons, so it's denser. And if you have monohalo compounds and dihalo compounds will be more denser. So that is just a normal comparison. Nothing is there to learn as new thing. That's why I don't want to discuss much. Solubility, slightly soluble in water. Because bonds being polar, there is interaction possible with water molecule, so they are slightly soluble. Not highly soluble like alcohol. So if it's a comparison between alcohol and haloalkane, haloalkanes will be less soluble than alcohol. So here just write this one point. So in the next chapter, when we discuss again the physical properties of the next organic compound, we can compare. So melting point, boiling point and solubility. These three are the important ones. So physical properties done. Chemical properties I'm not starting because that really need your complete attention to what we are going to be discussing. It's a very, very important, and also first time when you're looking into it, you need a lot of, what you can say, you should be active, not like how you're sitting right now. Okay, so we'll discuss the chemical properties if possible tomorrow. I think tomorrow also we got it out 2 periods. Yeah. So 1 period we'll discuss the chemical properties, then we'll do the revision also.
Can I go get water?
Chemical properties, if you want to learn the chemical properties, you need to know about the optical activity, mechanism. SN1 and SN2 mechanism. Stereochemical aspects. Anyway, we'll discuss it. But the thing is that once you learn all these things, then maybe it's a 10 slide, you can everything summarize in one. That much only is there. But when you're learning it as a new thing, every part should be discussed separately, then we'll find the connection. So that is, it will take time. But once you understood, okay, this is the thing, then it's easy. That is a thing with organic. Every organic reactions are like that only.